Tariffs is the only manufacturer in the country capable of producing the steel pipes needed for Canada's oil and gas industry. And this kind of Ontario-made manufacturing is more important than ever before.
Over $300 million worth of investment is coming to steel tube making operations in Sault Ste. Marie. As CTV's Courtney Nordstrom explains, Tariffs will be set up for new work and new jobs over the next 2.5 years.
Both the federal and provincial governments will be providing over $70 million for upgrades at the Sault Ste. steel plant. With investment from the company itself, a total of $306 million will transform the facility over the next 30 months.
This investment will expand production, extend the range of made in Canada products, and maximize productivity through the installation of new state-of-the-art equipment. When this project is complete, we will have enhanced our production capacity significantly.
Canada just made a steel move that nobody saw coming. After America slammed Canadian steel with a huge tariff, everyone expected Canada to fall back. But instead, one giant company made a decision that is now shocking global supply chains. Tariffs, one of the world's largest manufacturers of steel pipe for the energy industry, announced a major new investment at its Sault Ste. Marie plant in Northern Ontario, its largest single capital commitment to Canadian operations in the company's entire history. In the middle of the worst tariff environment Canadian steel has ever faced, Tariffs is not shrinking. It is doubling down on Canada. The announcement carried the full weight of both federal and provincial governments. Tariffs unveiled the investment alongside Canadian Industry Minister Mélanie Joly, Ontario Premier Doug Ford, Ontario Minister of Economic Development Vic Fedeli, Sault Ste. Marie MP Terry Sheehan, and Mayor Matthew Shoemaker. Federal support flowed through the Strategic Response Fund. Ontario contributed through the Invest Ontario Fund. The $36 million commitment represents the largest single capital investment Tariffs has ever made in its Canadian operations, a milestone the company chose to reach at the precise moment American trade policy was designed to drive investment away from Canadian steel. What makes the number striking is the pattern behind it. This investment does not stand alone. Since 2020, Tariffs has already poured more than $350 million into its Sault Ste. Marie facility. The new $36 million commitment pushes the company's total investment in Canadian manufacturing past $650 million since 2020 alone. That cumulative figure describes a company that is not hedging on Canada's industrial future. It is betting on it, deploying capital at a scale that matches the strategic importance the energy sector places on domestically produced high-performance steel pipe. A company hedging its bets does not commit $650 million over a few years to a single facility in a country facing punishing export tariffs. To understand why Tariffs is so committed, you have to understand what the Sault Ste. Marie plant actually makes. The facility produces two categories of steel pipe essential to Canada's oil and gas industry: oil country tubular goods, known as OCTG, and line pipe. OCTG are the steel casings and tubing used to drill and complete oil and gas wells inserted into the ground to stabilize boreholes, extract hydrocarbons, and protect the surrounding geological formations. And if you want the real story behind how Canada is still holding its ground through tariffs, wars, and hard times, hit join below to join the membership for exclusive documentaries you won't see anywhere else about Canada's progress and rise through uncertainty. Line pipe is the steel that transports oil, gas, and refined products from production sites through the pipeline networks connecting wellheads to refineries and export terminals. Without this pipe, nothing in the energy sector moves. That dependency connects Tariffs directly to every major energy project Canada is building right now. Every well drilled in Alberta's oil sands requires this pipe. Every section of pipeline approved under the Carney Energy Implementation Agreement requires it. Every liquefaction train at LNG Canada requires it. As Canada launches the largest wave of energy infrastructure construction in a generation, new pipelines to the Pacific, expanded oil sands production, and a growing LNG export industry, the demand for domestically produced steel pipe rises with it. Tariffs is positioning its Sault Ste. Marie plant to supply that entire build-out. The specific upgrades the $36 million fund are detailed and substantial. The plan expands production, extends the product range, and maximizes productivity through the installation of new state-of-the-art equipment. The improvements touch each stage of both the seamless and electric resistance welded manufacturing processes, including hot rolling, stretch reduction, heat treatment, testing capabilities, and finishing. The investment also adds a new threading line for semi-premium and API connections. Threading lines are where precision machined screw connections are cut into the ends of pipe sections. The connections that let individual pipe joints assemble into the continuous strings, running thousands of meters into a wellbore or stretching hundreds of kilometers across a pipeline corridor. The product expansion is precisely targeted at what Canadian drilling actually requires. The upgrade builds expanded capacity for OCTG grades, covering shale, thermal, and offshore drilling applications. All three active and growing segments of Canadian oil and gas production. Shale drilling, using horizontal drilling and hydraulic fracturing, demands high strength, precisely specified OCTG capable of handling the mechanical stresses of lateral wellbores extending several kilometers underground. Thermal applications, specifically steam-assisted gravity drainage, the dominant production method in Alberta's oil sands, require pipe engineered for the high pressure, high temperature steam injection conditions that place entirely different demands on steel metallurgy. Offshore applications, which Canada's East Coast and any future Arctic development would generate, require pipe certified for marine corrosion resistance and the mechanical loading of subsea installations. The company framed the investment as a matter of national economic sovereignty. Martin Castro, president of Tariffs in Canada, stated, "In Canada, we know energy connects us. Tariff steel pipes manufactured in Ontario and delivered through our Rig Direct service network to oil and gas operators across the country enable Canadian energy sovereignty." With this more than 300 million CAD investment on top of more than 350 million CAD invested since 2020, we illustrate Tariffs' steadfast commitment to Canadian manufacturing. The message is that Canada, producing its own energy pipe rather than importing it, is a component of the country's ability to control its own energy future. The employment impact is concrete. The investment is expected to generate up to 200 direct and indirect skilled jobs in Ontario at the Sioux Suite, Marie Industrial Centre, while creating favorable business conditions for Ontario-based subcontractors who supply materials, services, and components to the facility's manufacturing operations. Skilled steel manufacturing jobs, concentrated in a northern Ontario community anchored by heavy industry, are exactly the kind of stable, well-paid employment that the Canadian government's industrial strategy is designed to protect and grow within the country. The political context is what makes the timing so pointed. This investment arrives in the middle of the most disruptive tariff environment Canadian steel has ever faced. The 50% Section 232 tariff on Canadian steel and aluminum imports, combined with the April 2026 expansion of derivative product tariffs, has created significant disruption for Canadian steel producers who export to American markets. Salt Suite, Marie is home to both Tariffs and Algoma Steel, the two anchoring steel producers in Northern Ontario. Algoma has absorbed heavy losses and has been actively restructuring its commercial book away from US exposed coil production toward Canadian plate markets and defense steel applications. The tariff pain is real, documented, and ongoing. That is exactly why the Tariffs investment matters so much. It signals that even in a tariff environment designed to punish Canadian steel, a major manufacturer is committing $36 million to Canadian production, not reducing its footprint, not hedging by relocating capacity to the United States, but expanding at home.